All right, how you doing, everybody? My name is Johan. I'm here with the Charleston Hughes, and today we're very excited to have a very unique, interesting Canadian friend of ours. Charleston, I'm going to let you do the introduction because this is fantastic.
Now coming to the stage, we got Taya Valkyrie, one of the longtime friends that I've known for a long time. We've been connected through a ex-teammate of mine named Mike LaBenjo. You know, R.I.P. Rest in peace, Benjo. That's my boy. Her and Benjo used to be roommates back in the day. And I stayed with Benjo for like a weekend or maybe a week, I think it was, sleeping on the couch when I first came to Calgary. Like a long time ago. Like
that brown couch. That brown couch.
Yeah. So yeah, I had the privilege to live with him for a little bit when I first moved to Calgary, but no, it was an awesome experience. You always meet good people along the way, and Taya happens to be one of those good people. Taya, how are you?
Good. How are you? Thank you for
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I know last time, you know, I even heard a glimpse of you. I heard, you know what? She packed all her stuff up. She just up, jumped, moved to Mexico. Never heard. Nobody knew what happened. I thought she got kidnapped by the cartel. I don't know what the hell was going on. I'm still trying to figure out. The next thing I know, I started seeing all these images and stuff all over the place, and I was watching Impact Wrestling on a away game in my hotel room, and I'm waiting for what our meeting to start. And I'm sitting here going like, okay, let me watch this Impact Wrestling stuff and kind of see what's going on, because I never watched this before. Start watching it, and then I see somebody come into the ring named Taya Valkyrie. Then I looked and was like, hold the F up. Is that who I think it is? Yeah, I was like, hold on, wait. Then I started to do some investigation after that.
Investigation.
Yeah, I was like, is this her? And next thing I know, I reached out to her instantly right away, sent her like a DM on Twitter and said, are you on Impact Wrestling? Is this you or am I tripping?
So that
you sent me a DM on Twitter and you were like, I'm in this hotel room. I swear to God, you're on my TV right now. And am I tripping? Or is this like, exactly.
So maybe tell us a little bit about that, Taya. How did you get your start? You are Canadian, and you've blossomed to this outstanding wrestling career. But I am very interested in hearing about. This a Better with Age is the name of our webcast here. Now, how did you start off coming from a Canadian gal who's, from what I read, into bodybuilding in the beginning, and you're into, you know, dance, and then all of a sudden now you are a female pro wrestler living down in LA with quite an extensive bio of the interesting places you've wrestled throughout your career.
Listen, I don't know if we got enough time for me to tell us. No, like for me, I was born and raised in Victoria, BC. I moved to Calgary out of high school because I was accepted into the ballet program at the U of C, which is how I ended up there, where I met Charleston. I've always been a performer my entire life, and I always thought wrestling was really cool and different and fun and like whatever. And I remember just like being like, I kind of want to do this, and not knowing really like how to get into it. There's no, especially back then, like 15 years ago, like 10, 15 years ago, like it was just like so under the radar as to like how to get into something like that. So the reason I got into fitness competition was because I looked at people like Trish Stratus, my fellow Canadian, and Victoria and Tori Wilson and people like that who had gotten into wrestling through fitness. So I, in my 20-year-old brain, was like, well, I'll do that and everything will work out. So I did fitness competition for a long time, just trying to like figure out like how I would get into wrestling. So this one time at the Roadhouse.
The Roadhouse
in Calgary.
Yeah. This is like, okay, so this story goes, so like, let's think like 12 years ago, 11, 12 years ago. I met a man by the name of Shad Gaspard, who actually recently passed away last week, who was working for WWE, and he came in and he's like, I think you should be a wrestler. And I was like, oh my God, like, I totally want to be a wrestler. Like, you know, and he actually ended up getting me my first tryout with WWE, even before training, before anything, but just based on the way that I looked and, like, you know, my amazing personality. Like, and from there, like, it just kind of like escalated from there. And it went on to like me finding out about Lance Storm, and Lance Storm had a school back then called the Storm Wrestling Academy in Calgary. I trained with Lance's school. I, you know, started wrestling like Binjo. Actually, there's a video of my first ever match ever. And you see Binjo like come up to me when I'm leaving the ring, like high fives me. Like, I don't know, like I just started wrestling in Calgary, and I started wrestling in Edmonton and Vancouver and like different places. And then I just knew that this is something I wanted to do. And so I literally remember like telling Binjo, being like, yo, I'm moving to Mexico. This is what I'm doing. And him being like, you're an idiot. And what is wrong with you? You are a 5'7" blonde Canadian girl that speaks no Spanish. What is going on? And so I went there, and I don't know, I just kind of made it happen for myself. I worked so hard, man. Like, I trained morning, noon, and night. Like, I went from having a lot of money and being happy with my friends to having no money, broke, like just going through those struggles of like being like an artist, just like anybody else would do. And luckily there were people along the way that helped me, like Conan and El Hijo de Paraguayo and like all these kind of like people. And I worked for AAA, and I was on TV. I became the first non-Mexican born woman to ever win the championship there. The longest reigning Reina de Reinas, Queen of Queens champion that's ever. I'm also currently the the belt. Like, no, like I just like kind of made my own. I paved my own path. Like, no one helped. Like, there were tons of people that helped me, but I definitely went down this like rickety road that no one ever thought that I would go down, and just kind of did my own thing. And then I was asked to be on Lucha Underground, which was an El Rey Network TV show. I did season 2, 3, and 4 with them. That was filmed in Los Angeles, and ultimately I met my husband on the show, who is now known as John Morrison in WWE.
Yeah.
Friday Night SmackDown. I met him, and then like, yeah, the rest is history. Like, I've been working for Impact now for about almost 3 years. Also, Impact is now owned by a Canadian company.
Really?
Anthem Sports is out of Ontario. So I have Canadian bosses, which is ironic. But yeah, I'm very happy. Everything's been great. I am the longest reigning Knockouts champion that ever has been, the longest reigning champion, male or female, in the history of Impact Wrestling as well. Yeah. You know, I don't know. I think I've done pretty good for myself.
Yeah. I want to know who.
I live in LA. Here I am in LA. Got 2 dogs and a husband. I don't know.
Nice. Very, very nice. I want to know who speaks better Spanish, you or Charleston, because on some of those videos and whenever
I don't know. I just heard her rolling them R's and stuff when she was saying stuff like morada.
Okay, I think we've answered that already. Then who's?
Yeah, so I'm winning.
Yeah. That's awesome.
No, all that leading up to the point, man, that's been a awesome career for you, especially for you to build so much. And all you really needed was a push, right? And a kickstart to really get into your career and make your dream happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no one ever like writes a book on success and how you do it. It's kind of just personal experience. And I had the right people and the right friends along the way to kind of support me and believe in me. And I'm just thankful that I like pushed through it, and here we are. So yeah,
kudos to you for even taking a chance. You moved to Mexico, probably one of the dangerous places in the world.
And people are like, "So, would you do it again?" I'm like, "What the hell was I thinking?"
That's kind of leading up to one of my next questions. Has there ever been a point when you were in Mexico, on one of those points earlier on in your career, like you're sitting around looking before you get into the ring, or you're sitting there backstage, or you're maybe after the fight, you're going, what the fuck am I doing here?
Listen,
one
Many
of the
times. Many
yeah, when you're going, oh my God, or maybe the vice versa. Has there been a point where you're going, man, this is awesome? And
Absolutely.
yeah, tell us a little bit about that.
There's been multiple times, and I think that when it was happening, I was more just like, okay, this is what I'm doing, and just kind of like survival mode.
Yeah.
And just kind of going along with it. But like looking back, I'm like, oh my God, like what the fuck is wrong with you? but I would never change a thing. Like those are those things in life that like, those are those moments, you know, when you literally have a path and you go right or you go left, you take the red or the blue pill. And I chose this, you know what I mean? Like I did this and it worked out. And sometimes things don't work out, but I worked very, very hard to get there and stuff. And so there were multiple times that I was like, what is going on? And then there were all, like, for example, when I first won the Reina de Reinas championship and my mom is like in the crowd in Mexico in front of 30,000 fans with a Canadian flag. And I'm the first ever person like me to ever do that. And my mom's there with the Canadian flag. You know what I mean? Like these are these moments that you're just like, oh my God, this is like the coolest shit ever.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just been like a roller coaster of emotions. It's been me just trying to represent my country and women as the best of my ability, and just, you know, show that you can have this like absolutely, honestly, ridiculous dream to do something and really make it happen for yourself, not without like the hardest work ever and sacrifice. And really, like, you will find out who those people are that love you and believe in you, and those who do not. And I am lucky enough to still have some amazing friends out there that just I talk to on a regular basis. Calgary days, Charleston, you would know all, like some of them, Mandy, Sherry, Brittany, all getting the shout out right now.
Oh yeah.
There's all these people that like, and Binge was the same way. Like they all were at my wedding. They've all like seen me grow from nothing to what I am now. And I just feel like I would never regret anything, because yeah, the struggle was real, but it makes everything like so much more worth it. I don't know. Like it's just.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. You carve your own path. I mean, each one is different. You can't really tell anybody this is the right way to go, because it's not
exactly.
It's not their path, right? It's your path. You got to be able to choose what you do and go from there. So that's awesome. So what do you do now? How is COVID? I know Charleston, so you can see back in the background right there. He's just waiting, itching to go back to work and be able to get on.
I wish.
Yeah.
It's a struggle, right? It's a struggle right now, man. This COVID stuff messing everybody up, and it's eating out people right now.
Bad.
I was about to say, you guys were supposed to be in Regina, right? I guess you, your husband, or
I think Don was supposed to be there doing like some live events and stuff, and everything was like canceled and doing.
John was scheduled to be a part of that WWE event that was in Saskatoon. That was coming to Saskatoon.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No.
So what are you doing now, Taya? What are you doing now to be able to occupy your time? I know you probably can't go to the gyms and be able to train, and whether that's wrestling or you know, weights, or what's how are you, other than your two dogs and driving your husband crazy maybe, or vice versa? What are you doing now in LA with the COVID?
Well, like we have a gym in our house, luckily, thank God, where we can do our thing or whatever. Actually this past week I was in Nashville. We started shooting Impact Wrestling again with no crowd.
Okay.
So that was interesting. But I mean, it was good to feel back to work and stuff. But I was wrestling like 4 or 5 days a week and traveling everywhere. And to go from that to this has been, you know, the first few weeks I was angry, I was mad, I was resentful, like, oh my God, my life is over, blah, blah. And like, I was doing different TV projects, like, just like everybody, like, it's like a feeling of loss. It was like a feeling of loss, like, just like, oh my God, what's going on? But things have, you know, just kind of, you learn to adapt. And I think that that's what I've done. And got back in the ring, obviously, with Impact this past week, which is great. And that stuff will start airing, I believe, this week or next week. I don't know, man. Like, it's just been trying not to drink too much. It's like everybody trying not to like do too much online shopping. Let's be realistic. Like, let's be honest. Like, it's not glitz and glamour. It's a lot of sweatpants, and it's make me put makeup on today, okay? Like, it's awful. And Los Angeles, the state of California has been very strict. on rules and stuff, and like everything is changing day to day, and like just I mean, even obviously you guys are aware of like the riots and the stuff that's been going on here. Like it's just been a crazy 2020 for us. I'm just trying to hold it together and be there with my friends and my family and be safe and just, you know, do what I can do. I've been in school also. I went back to school for fashion. So I've been doing like that, which is occupying my time.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
I launched a clothing line as well.
I see it. I need to.
Nice.
I'm definitely gonna get one. No
Yeah.
doubt.
So things have been like as good as they can be. Like I'm trying to not be moping around because that's not good for anybody's mental health. And during these times, it's you got to be aware of that. But you know, I'm just trying to keep it real and do my thing and stay focused on what's happening in the future and stuff. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And how's that been with your first taste of the action without a crowd there? We've talked to a few people on our show over the last few weeks. Jordan Eberle, we talked to Regina singer Nate Hiltz. This week we're going to be airing the interview we had with Dallas Smith. You know, how's that feeling of, especially in wrestling, and then Charleston can relate to this about, you know, running out of the tunnel, you know, with the crowd right there. Yeah. How are you going to be, how are you going to be able to, as a wrestler, how are you going to be able to thrive off, you know, that now wrestling is so fan interactive. You guys are always, you know, you're getting that feedback, you're getting that rush, you're getting everything.
Good energy. You need that energy right there, and it's hard to. It's almost like you got to pretend like the people are still there.
Yeah.
Almost like even when you see like the UFC guys walking down the aisle and they're walking down and you can see they're like ready to high five somebody in the
no one
crowd.
there.
And it's like, you know, no one there, but you still got to do it.
How has that been? How is that like emotionally? Do you guys talk about that after when you did your first show in Nashville? Is it a totally different vibe? Is it something where you guys are going, man, this is awkward?
It's weird because like I've been watching John do it for like a little while just because like WWE immediately like started doing the no crowd shows, so I was getting like kind of his opinion of all of it and watching it. So when I did it the first day, like I thought of it more, it really honestly like it was super weird, but at the same time, like I just had to change my way of thinking about it. So I was like, we're filming just a television show. So I'm a bad guy. I'm a horrible person. So I just kind of interacted more with the cameras and was aware of like that kind of stuff. Whereas normally I'd be looking past the cameras and looking at the people and reacting to them or try to get a rise out of them. Yeah. And I remember the first day, like I like grabbed a camera like this and I like pushed it and the guy almost fell over and I went, okay, calm down. Yeah, like I don't know, it's just different, but at the same time, you just kind of have to, just like anything, like you have to just kind of adapt and move with what's going on. I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I didn't think it was that different. Just, you have to like, you can't pretend that people are there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people like, I've watched on TV sometimes and I'm like, dude, there's literally who are you pointing at? There's nobody there. So I wanted to make sure that it was aware that I as Taya Valkyrie knows that there's nobody there. You know what I mean? I didn't want to like pretend that there's 500 people on this one side kind of thing. So it really wasn't that bad. I didn't mind it. I've always felt that like when people have been doing these like no crowd shows, that the promos and the like moments when people are talking on the mic, you can really hear them and you're more present with the act, like with the actor, with the wrestler. So I wanted that to be the feeling that people are with me and I'm just like with them, like there's no distractions. So I didn't think it was that bad actually. So
awesome.
Yeah.
And so what's the best part of living in California right now?
The beach.
Yeah.
Cali is crazy right now, let's be honest. The USA is nuts.
Especially the riots.
The riots, everything.
They're tearing California apart right now.
They are tearing California apart. I absolutely love living in Los Angeles. My dogs are barking. Bowie. I love living in California. I love that my friends want to come visit me. I love the sunshine. I love that like it's just like a very positive, liberal, fun beautiful state to live in. And my husband's born and raised here, so his family is here and they live here and in San Francisco. And I am so fortunate, honestly, to live here. And I absolutely love it. And I'm heartbroken watching, you know, the state of the country and the state of the world right now is just crazy, but like things needed to be said and people are expressing themselves. And I stand by every single person who's like, you know, living and suffering through all of this. And I just hope that we get out of this, you know, stronger and more united, not only as races, but also as humanity, and also like different countries coming together. Like this is a time for us to just like, you know, be, I know it's like corny, but it's true. Like this is a time for us to just be united and stand with the people that need us, and fight for the rights of our fellow man. And, you know,
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but I'm proud and to live here. I'm proud to be a Canadian living here. I'm proud to be a voice of somebody who grew up in a country that accepts every single person, you know, your race, the color of your skin, your religion, whatever. Like I grew up around like every type of person. Like in Canada, we're all immigrants.
yeah.
Like we're all like, come on, I'm not even blonde, but I'm like, my family immigrated like from another country. Like we all did. I don't know. Like I'm proud to be that voice and proud to be that person. And I hope that this country too can learn from that, and, you know, that we all can get through this together and just be there for each other, honestly.
Well said. No, well said. I think for us here, and I'm speaking from myself, it's a little bit different to be able to see coming from Regina, Saskatchewan's point of view to how it is in the States, and be able to do that. And Charles can speak of when it's difficult times and situations like this, we take it for granted as Canadians what we come across, and how tough and difficult life can be for people in the US, and what they have to go through on a daily basis. And I think, you know, Charles and I were having a few soda pops over the weekend and a few tequilas and doing that.
Soda.
And we were just saying the same thing too, is that we hope
we're
that
very fortunate. We're so fortunate in Canada to just be, I don't know, innocent to a lot of things, but at the same time, like coming here and living here, I just was like confused at first about how people thought of like, I don't know. I just was like, what do you mean? Like, just like,
yeah.
but the thing is, like, I have friends of every single race and skin color that like, I literally would just ask questions and educate myself about it. And like, it's very sad. Like it's horrible. And I just hope and pray that us as human beings can realize that every single, you know, person's life matters. And right now we have to be with every Black man, woman, and child that is going through this horrible time, and just be there for them and support them. So
Charleston, what is it
about that?
Yeah, what Charleston, what is it like for you being, you know, from Michigan coming up here? Do you see a bigger difference too with that? Like, do you see how us as Canadians, how we're kind of
I always forget. I always think you're Canadian, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, it's different. It's different, man. Even, you know, it's all culture, right? So the Canadian culture is totally different from the American culture, and even like the American culture is kind of regioned out, you know, by state and by different sectors. So when you got people that's from different backgrounds, different cultures like that, you never know what you're going to run into in the States. You can run into somebody that's 100% proud to be racist one day, and you'll run into somebody who's, you know, accepting of everybody the next day. And it'll happen. Everybody has that freedom of speech and voicing their own opinion, but sometimes that freedom of speech does get out of control and it gets out of hand. But you just kind of take it what it is, man. And like you said, as humans, we got to do better. We got to be better people. You got to treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And
like everyone needs to go back to kindergarten right now. Like
I had this talk with a guy yesterday of how do you control like police brutality or you know, police mistreating people. And like, it's not only just Black people, just mistreating people in general. So when I look at it, it's the only way to approach that situation, which I've seen no police station do it yet, is to put these guys through some type of sensitivity training, raise some kind of awareness where like, okay, we're making an effort to, you know, weed out the officers who are making bad decisions and stuff. So you got to put these type of programs into effect to kind of help make change, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Very true, very true. So, Taya, explain to me what's going on with your new clothing line. Then I love that, very colorful, loca. So my background is I'm Guatemalan. I was born in Guatemala.
¿Sabes hablar en español?
Poquito, para no mucho. Mi español es muy horrible.
Whoa.
Charleston, háblame en español, güey.
English.
Charleston, soy muy borracho ahorita.
Okay, we got the dubbed edition. I can't even hit, you know, the captions to get the English version at the bottom of the screen. Like,
I said that
you muy tonta.
We definitely got to work on Charleston Spanish to be able to do that. Taya, tell us a little bit about your line, your clothing line. I'd love to be able to get into a little bit more too about your Mexican experience and how that was. Just because of my background, my family's in Mexico City. I've been there several times. I lived there in Mexico City for about 8 months when I was younger. But tell us first about your clothing line and what's that for, and how Charleston and I can support you and be able to do that and get some clothing up here in Regina, Saskatchewan.
I'm just going to say right now that the shipping is terrible because of COVID. So it takes a long time.
We got time.
It gets there, but it takes long time. So I've always been a fan of fashion and clothing and, like, you know, just expressing myself through that. And like that, I think that is very apparent in my character and like what I wear on TV and stuff like that. But I went back to school for fashion because I wanted to start a clothing line, but everything got super fast tracked just because of the state of everything, and I had nothing else to do. So I started Loca. So the reason I named it Loca is because my nickname in wrestling is Güera Loca, which means crazy white girl, which was given to me by the late Paraguayo, who would, when I didn't speak Spanish when I first moved to Mexico, I would be like, I don't understand what you're saying. Like, and I'd be like, what is going on in English? And he's like, pinche güera loca all the time, which means like fucking crazy white girl. And güera loca just kind of stuck. Like, it means like light skin, blonde. Like, it's a horrible, like, like, it's so stupid. But this is like a nickname I got like organically through Pero and everybody at Pero Style Mal, and they would just call me güera loca all the time. And then the fans caught on, and then it just became a thing. And it was brought to Lucha Underground. It's been brought to Impact Wrestling. Like, everyone calls me that. So it just kind of stuck. And so I called it Loca because, I don't know, like, it's just a representation of me. Loco means crazy. And I think that my life has been pretty nuts. So
that's awesome.
It's just me being like, and it's fun, like loungewear and sportswear and stuff that you would kind of just wear on a day-to-day basis, because guess what? We don't wear heels and cocktail dresses 24/7, especially right now. So I just, like, I'm making stuff that makes me happy, and I'm making stuff that I feel like my friends and family will wear and feel comfortable in and feel cute, basically. So I did the first drop of stuff on May 15th, and then the next drop, it sold out in 2 days, which was amazing. And then I'm doing the next drop on June 15th at 12 p.m. Pacific time. I will be on the Instagram for Loca by Taya Valkyrie. It's at Loca by Taya Valkyrie, live at 12 p.m. while everything goes live on June 15th. So if everyone wants to join me, that'd be great. And I don't know, it's just kind of like a passion project of mine. It's something that I really love. Something makes me happy. Like, it's just an expression of myself. And, you know, I finally saw like some of my friends wearing my clothes at the Impact tapings, and I was like, oh my God. Like, it just makes me happy. Like, I don't know. It's like, I created this stuff. I make matching masks for the different outfits and stuff like that. I hired local local workers and stuff. So I have like a woman who lost her job making my masks for me here in Los Angeles. I hire a local Los Angeles company to do all my printing and help me with like wholesale buying and all that kind of stuff. Like I'm just trying to like help people and, you know, do something really cool, and it's affordable. It's not expensive. It's for everybody. It's inclusive. Everything is like 99.9% of it is unisex, because I just feel like, guess what? Like I like wearing my husband's oversized sweatshirt. Like Benjo would get mad at me because I'd steal his clothes. Like, so like, I don't know. I just feel like everyone should feel included. And like, it's just like a really cool thing that I'm doing, and I'm proud of it. And I'm excited for everything that's going to come out on June 15th. So.
Awesome. Well, you'll definitely have two supporters here in Regina, Saskatchewan, wearing clothing. I called Loca. I love the name Loca because when I started to date my wife, I always said, "Oh, girl, you're Loca." And then she was Loca, chica. And then which is Charleston is, "Hey, girl, you're crazy." And then yeah, she doesn't like it now that we're married that I call her Loca. Not anymore. It's got a different kind of vibe to it. So I can't call her Loca anymore. So to be able to do that.
Yeah, and everything's available at TayaValkyrie.com. Sorry, I forgot that in my little pitch there.
That's awesome. We'll be able to
TayaValkyrie.com is where you get your Loca shirt.
Yeah.
Well, this is the point where now I'm going to kind of turn it over to you guys to have a little bit of conversation to catch up. I'm going to throw on my Mexican sombrero.
Oh, geez.
Look at him representing. Guatemala in the house, amigo.
This is the part now I'm just to let you guys talk and catch up about how you guys. When's the last time you guys saw each other, in Calgary, or when?
Like 9 years ago, probably.
Really, that long?
It had to been like a solid 9 years ago. Like I said, I talked to Benjamin one time and was like, "Whatever happened to your roommate?" And then he was like, "Man, she just up and jumped ship and moved to Mexico and became a professional wrestler." And then it never dawned on me to even think about it or ask about it again. And then it kind of just blew my mind until that one day in the hotel room. Like I said, then I was like, "Hold up, I know her."
You're like,
"This is pretty cool." I was like,
Cowboys in the Roadhouse.
I was thinking to myself, like, she did it.
Is she or her? Is that Club 16 on my TV?
Yeah.
That's
awesome. No.
Do you follow Charleston? Do you watch some? Are you able to catch the CFL down?
I don't get the CFL, but obviously I follow you on social media.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And we don't get the CFL down here, and sports right now is like completely obsolete.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah.
So hopefully
one question I did have for you, just because you have got into the wrestling, and I know Ronda Rousey tried to get into it for a little bit too, right? But she said the amount of work that you have to put into wrestling, as far as training, as far as practicing, as far as like throughout a whole week, she said it was too much for her to endure and bear because it's way too much work. So I'm pretty sure she dropped out of it. So how much work is it actually to be a professional wrestler?
It's a lot of work, and there's a lot of it that's very traditional because it's been going on for hundreds of years.
Right.
So there's like a level of hierarchy too. So like when you start, like, guess what? You get beat up. Like people make you earn your spot, just like anything. So it was a ton of work. And I don't know. I think that's part of like why I'm so proud of it. Like I survived a lot of things that a lot of people wouldn't survive, to be honest. When you really want something, and I'm sure it goes in every sport, in football, basketball, everything, in MMA. When you're new, people are like, "You want this? You want this to be your life? Okay, let me check you." So there was a lot of that. But at the same time, yeah, no, it was just a lot of work. It was grinding in a gym, and more than anything, just grinding in the ring, especially when I moved to Mexico. Even though I was like trained by this incredible wrestler, Lance Storm, Canadian professional wrestler, it was nothing. Like it was like when I moved to Mexico, I like relearned everything, like the names of things. In American style, like we wrestle to the left, so your left hand is the front arm. In Mexican wrestling, it's the right, so I had to learn everything backwards again. Like I had to change everything. It was just like a lot of work, but I don't know, when you love something, like I said, just like football, like, yeah, you went to practice every day. You got up, you ate what you had to eat, you trained and you did this and you did that because you loved it so much. So that's just part of it.
Right. That's pretty cool, yeah, because it is related to football just like that. Like it's a total grind. And I always say, like, when I'm done playing football, I'm never touching another weight again because I've been so forced to work out and forced to train and forced to lift weights that I think, like, man, when it's time to kind of do it as a leisure time, I don't think I want to. It's just
Yeah,
funny
and it
when it's
becomes a
like that.
job, and it is a job. Like, we go to work, I have to put my costume on and put makeup on and think creatively about every single thing that I'm doing. But also, how lucky are we that we get to do these crazy things as a job? Like, that's insane. So I'm very thankful for it. I wouldn't change like anything about it. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, I just don't want to jump to the floor off of like 2 stories. Like, I'm good. Like, I don't want to go through a table today. Is that okay? But I love it. It's my job, and I'm very fortunate to be able to do it. But it didn't come without like so much work and so much sacrifice. And honestly, like, I didn't get in a ring for 2.5 months because of COVID. And like right before I went to TV in Nashville, my girlfriend and I went to a ring that we were able to train in. And I was like, oh my God, do I even remember how to do this? Like, I was like, and the first roll I did, I was like, I'm dizzy. Oh God. It's just, everything is hard work, but it's worth it. So.
That's pretty funny. Now, being married to a wrestler like this John Morrison guy with the wet hair. I love it when he got the wet hair like that. So I find it funny being married to somebody like in the same, profession as you. Like, would it be times where you guys walk around the house and just try random stuff on each other, like try an arm bar or try to clothesline him coming through and see if he duck? Like, are you always in character? Is it playful like that? Like, what kind of relationship is this? Because I know if I was a professional wrestler and then I was dating somebody or I was married to somebody that was a wrestler, it would be like a full-on, I would DDT you in the bed before we go to sleep. Like, it would be like some crazy stuff.
When I first moved to LA, we he lived in the house, like, and we had roommates and stuff, and we had a ring in our backyard. And I remember, like, I moved to LA. I'm like, yay, I live here. Oh my God, Los Angeles. Like, hi. And we'd be sitting on the couch watching TV, and he's like, can we go outside for a second? And I was like, okay. And can I try something on you? And I went,
oh boy. Yeah.
Yeah. And he'd like try something or whatever. But I mean, it was long ago. By the way, today is my 2nd wedding anniversary.
Oh, congratulations.
Congratulations.
But no, like, we talk, like, we don't put each other in arm bars over breakfast kind of thing. Like, that's just not. But like, we do think creatively all the time, and like, we'll watch some, like, and the thing is, it's just like anything. You don't want to bring your job home 24 hours a day or talk about it 24 hours a day. But we're both involved in different things. Like, he's been doing movies and producing and writing things for a long time. And now I'm getting into that too. And so we talk about all sorts of creative stuff. And like, when we do talk about wrestling, we kind of just like discuss it. But if we train and we go to like a ring or we go to a gymnastics studio and work on flips and stuff, like, this is just that's a normal part of like what we do kind of thing. And he's a super parkour guy. So he's always like, I want to teach you to do this. I'm like, yo.
Awesome. So he's like part ninja.
Yeah. I'm athletic. I like to consider myself athletic, but he is like other level athletic. Yeah, no, we're not like doing moves to each other or anything, but like we definitely discuss it a lot. And sometimes I'm like, I do not want to watch wrestling right now. I'm like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So tell me, what's your finishing move?
My finishing move is called the Road to Valhalla, which is I pick her up by her arms. She's facing forward. I lift her up in the air, and she's flats on her face, and I sit down. So, yeah.
I like it. I
I
like
do
it.
that, and I do like a submission, which a lot of times I go from a curb stomp into like a front face lock with their legs crossed behind them as well.
Is that the move? Is that the move you finished off, Big Mama?
Yes, I think I just did the submission on her. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ooh.
That
What,
big.
who is Big Mama?
She had a sombrero like this. You got to check it
Listen,
out.
Carlson, do some investigating and we'll figure it out.
Exactly,
No,
Joe.
that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Johan, you got anything else from the Guatemalan? What do we call him?
¿Qué me quieres
If you're-
decir, güey? Dame algo.
Yes. Can we get like 2 minutes and nothing but Spanish from here on out? I'm gonna learn from right here. This is for the Spanish
Es que
listeners.
no me vas a entender nada.
Yeah. Claro que sí, Charleston. ¿Por qué no habla nada en español? And that's Charleston. Yeah, right there. Charleston, ¿tú me gusta tequila?
¿Te gusta el tequila?
Juanito.
Sí, it's coming along, yeah. So.
Te voy a mandar una botella y te quiero ver tomándolo en tu Instagram. Yes.
Yeah, say okay. Yeah, yeah.
Sí.
Yeah.
Sí. Baño.
We'll have to save our Spanish lessons for another show, Charleston. But I think that's it for me now. Taya, I really can't thank you enough for coming on.
This was super fun, so thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, I think we
Oh,
can talk
that
to you
was
for
awesome.
a
Thank
few
you.
more hours and a few more
You
days.
should start breaking out the White Claws and have a real conversation.
Yeah.
We can do that next time. We'll get into it. We'll see if maybe we can send you some Canadian
Oh my God,
cervezas.
send me ketchup chips, please.
I was just gonna say, what do you miss most about Canada too? What's some of the things you think back?
Well, I miss my friends more than anything. I miss my best friends in Calgary. But I really miss ketchup chips. And I miss like the McDonald's iced tea.
Really?
It's like these weird things, I know.
Well, we'll see what we can do. We'll see where we can get some Loca clothing line up here, and then we'll send you all the ketchup chips and maybe some McDonald's iced tea down your way.
Perfect. Thank you guys for having me. And yeah, everybody, my next launch is on June 15th at 12 p.m. Pacific time, TayaValkyrie.com. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at the Taya Valkyrie, as well as on Facebook.com/TayaValkyrie. And my clothing line is at Loca by Taya Valkyrie.
Awesome. I think Charleston always ends
That
the
is
show.
awesome.
Charleston always ends the show with his famous line. He'll be able to.
Yeah. So I'm going into character right now. Grandmaster Hughes is here.
And on.
So the name of this show is Better with Age. The reason why it's called Better with Age is because there's multiple things that get better with age. There's cheese, there's leather, there's whiskey, there's multiple things. But the most important thing of them all is friendships. And me knowing you for all these years, I value our friendship, and our friendship is awesome. So thank you for being on the Better with Age webcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. This made me so happy. Now I'm like, oh my God.
All right, you guys, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you soon.
Thanks.